I'm Aaron Suttles, Director of Content for Yay, Alabama. It's my pleasure to welcome you back into another half-hour Huddle, our premier show here on Yay, Alabama that allows you access to the student athletes to make the Crimson Tide great. And today we got Jaala Torrence, pitcher for the Alabama softball program. We are slowly just checking off every sport at the capstone, and I don't need to tell you guys that softball has a rabid fan base, so we're excited to welcome Jaala, and we'll get to her in just a second. Couple housekeeping issues as always. Make sure you're checking out the Alabama merch. All the proceeds are going to our student athletes, every last cent. So it's a good way to stand out on game day. And with basketball season coming up, you can always load up. We got some winter gear that's going to be coming available pretty soon, but we still have our polos, our Holderness and Bourne polos, like you see that I'm wearing today. Those are available in our merch shop at yay-alabama.com. Make sure you're telling your friends about Yay Alabama and make sure they're joining so we can fund all the sports at the capstone. As always, make sure you're following us on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. So make sure you're seeing that. We had a fun video this week. My colleague Masood was out there with me at the Country Club of Birmingham for the SEC match play, the men's golf tournament that Auburn won. Alabama defeated Florida yesterday to finish in 7th place, but Auburn knocked off Vanderbilt to take home the that was a cool idea that they did. They did 2 days of stroke play, and then they brought in some match play. So it was a lot of fun, but we got to see up close Nick Dunlap, who we featured last week on Half Hour Huddle. He is the reigning U.S. men's amateur champion, which is a huge deal in the world of golf, and he showed us why on Tuesday. He shot a 63, birdieing his 18th hole to knock off Gordon Sargent, the top-ranked amateur player in the world from Vanderbilt. He shot a 63 with a bogey on the first hole of the day. We were out there and we captured, if you haven't seen it, go check out our social media. We captured, he chipped in for eagle, I believe on number 15. So make sure you're checking out all of us on social media. We featured a cool video we're going to start doing every week with Isaiah Bond and his outfit of the week. So we're bringing you constant new ideas. We got some sneaker shows coming your way. So make sure you're checking us out on social. Make sure you're subscribed to Yay Alabama. That's enough of hearing me yap, because you guys came here to hear from Jaala Torrence, pitcher at the University of Alabama. Jaala will come in now. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we just found out some news not too long ago that the Rhodes House is going to be host to 8 exhibition games this fall. The first one, a doubleheader, coming up, I believe, October 8th with, I believe, Shelton State. I guess it's closer than you think. So what's the feeling right now with this team?
Yeah, I mean, we're all excited to play. We did like a scrimmage kind of yesterday, and so we got to, compete a little bit within our own team, but we're very excited to face some other competition and to get going and, grow this fall.
So tell me a little bit about the pitching staff. I think everyone in the collegiate softball world knew Montana Fouts. She was a known commodity. Obviously, we know the other pitchers here around the as I mentioned, you guys have a rabid softball fan base, so they know all about you guys. But for those who don't follow it as closely, give us a little inside scoop on this year's pitching staff.
Yeah, so we have 6 pitchers, and I feel like we're all different in our own way, and we're all going to make an impact on this team for sure. And I know we had 6 pitchers my freshman year, and we all, gelled and had a great time and, worked together great as a staff. And I feel like this year is going to be the same. We're going to be able to make an impact and, help our team win and in our own way, like be able to just help our team this season. Yeah.
And one cool thing that I don't know if it was Murph that came up with it, but one thing that softball does, and I don't know that Alabama softball was the first, it's just where I've seen it the most, but it sets softball apart a little bit. I love how you guys embrace this year's team. It's called Team 28, and you guys do that every year. And it seems like the whole team gets behind it. What's sort of the message? Why is that important for Alabama softball to sort of make each year individual?
Yeah, well, every team's different, and I feel like this year we have a lot of new girls, and I'm still getting to know a lot of them, but just from the few weeks that we've been able to get on the field and get to know each other, I know that this team is going to have like a lot of heart this season, and it's just going to be a great ride.
Yeah, so this team, now's the time when you're talking about these scrimmages, and sometimes some of these programs, they take retreats. They sort of start building the chemistry of that team. When does that start for softball?
I think it starts like as soon as the season ends. Before I know we went to Italy this past summer, and some of the new girls got to go, and it was a great experience. Like it was my first time out of the country, and I know some other people's first time out of the country, and so we really got to bond. And I'm so grateful for the experience, grateful for the Murph and our athletic department for doing that for us.
What's Murph like? Give us the behind the scenes what Murph is like, because to us in the media, you may not know, but he's one of the most friendly coaches and accessible coaches in collegiate sports. He's very complimentary of his competition. He just seems like he's all about growing the sport of softball. But I also know, having talked to some people, that behind the scenes, he's all about business. So what's that balance like between the Murph that we all see and then the hard nosed coach that you guys deal with on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, our whole team knows that Murph loves each and every one of us, and he wants us to get better, and that's our goal every day is to get better for ourselves, and so he pushes us, but at the end of the day, he tells us he loves us all the time, so we know that, and no matter what happens, he's gonna still love us, but we're still gonna work as hard as we can to be able to win for this team.
So tell me a little bit about Italy. It must have been an incredible experience, as you mentioned, your first time out of the country. It's on my Rome is my number one. It's like on my bucket list. I want to go to Rome. I want to go to Barcelona. So I'm extremely jealous that you got to go to Italy. How cool was that experience? And not only just for you, but to go with your team to start building, not only long term memories, but the chemistry of this team.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like it was it's one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. And so just to be able to have that and to be able to come back maybe in 10 years and still think about that and talk about that, and that being my first experience out of the country with the people that I love the most right now, like in my life, it's amazing. Like we went to Venice, Milan, Farah, I think it was called. Florence. We went so many places. We went to Parma, Lake Como, which was beautiful. It was just a great experience. I'm so glad I got to do it and do it with this team.
Yeah. So I got to ask you about the food. Is the food as good as I imagine it, or am I just building it up in my head?
Yeah, the food is amazing. The pasta, I ate so much pasta. So much pasta. It was good. The pizza was different too. Like it was better. I have to say it was better. At first I was like, is it really better? People hype it up, but it definitely was.
There you go. Now, someone told me that your dad played football at Alabama. Is that true? And so I'm guessing you heard about the Capstone and the Crimson Tide growing up, and
Mhm.
probably a dream come true for your dad, for you to sort of follow in his footsteps and be a student athlete at the university.
Yeah, so he played for Coach Gene Stallings. I think they won a championship in '92. I don't really know when he graduated, like the years between that, but I just know that part. But yeah, I grew up coming to games, football games, softball games. I was very familiar with the campus, and when I was getting recruited and everything, I always wanted to go to Bama. It's always in the back of my mind, but I was open to different places. But when I came here, I just knew this was going to be my home, and the coaching staff was family, and even the players back then, like they just made me feel so welcome. So I knew this was the place I wanted to be, and he was all supportive of like where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. But I think he was very happy when I chose Bama.
Yeah, that's the awesome thing about athletics. I mean, obviously you have the tie that binds your father-daughter relationship, but the student-athlete part that you guys have in common is so cool. Let's get to some questions now. We have some subscribers submit some questions for you. They were excited to have you in. Again, you were our first softball, so we're excited about that. Joe wants to know, walk us through your pre-pitch process. What are you thinking about?
So like pre-game, you think?
I think so. When you're on the mound, in between pitches, what's going through your mind? You've gotten the sign. Sort of, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I really try not to think too much. I try to just trust my preparation and think about whatever pitch is called. Think about what I have to do to make the pitch work. Um, so I really try not to think too much about you know what's going on around me, or too much about the batter. I usually, like I said, think about trying to do what I've done in practice every day and execute.
All right, let's grab another question here. This one coming from Paul D. What's the biggest strength you bring to the mound?
I think I bring like a presence of like just so much focus. I feel like I kind of zone out when I'm pitching and I only like am thinking about that one pitch. So I kind of zone out and tune everything else out. And I think that's one of my biggest strengths.
Is that hard to do? Because the Rhodes House is, as I mentioned, I've said this over and over again. I think that's a testament to the program that you guys have built, is just how much fans feel a connection with you guys, and they're really loud. But are there times where you zone out and you don't hear it, or what? How do you sort of manage those emotions when the crowd's going crazy?
Yeah, I mean, usually I'm able to zone out kind of and just think about what I'm doing on the mound. But there's been some times where I'm like, oh wow, like the fans are like I could hear them like throughout the whole my entire like wind up and everything. So like there I think it was during like supers or it might have been regionals, like the last few pitches in regionals, I was like, oh my God, like I could hear like it was like surround sound of so much noise. But it made it even like a better moment, I feel like, for me. So I appreciate our fans. They support us so much, and we appreciate them being out there and cheering us on. And I think it rattles the opponent a little bit. So it's a win for us.
Absolutely. Let's grab another question here. This one is submitted live. If you have a question for Jaala, click on the comment button beneath the video. We have some live questions here. This one coming from Krista wants to know, which one of your pitches are you most excited about and which one are you hoping to improve upon?
So I'm most excited about my drop ball this season. I've really been working on it for a while now, and it's definitely been a work in progress, but I feel like it's getting there. And once it's there, like it's going to be such an effective pitch. And I'm hoping to improve on my changeup. I also think that that's going to be a good pitch for me this year. I've been working really hard on it, and just mixing speeds is going to be effective.
I want you to tell the average fan who maybe has never stood in for a fast pitch softball game, and you got the rise ball, you've got the changeup, you got the drop ball, as you mentioned, just how difficult it is to hit. Because I think most people think, they think of softball, they think of slow pitch, and they see these TikTok videos of these guys hitting it out of the stadium. Most of us have no shot of making contact with some of these pitches, right?
I mean, hitting's a really hard job. I'm not gonna lie. I don't hit now, but I used to, and it's very difficult because you get into slumps and then you're like, what's going on? Because you can hit great in practice, and then you see like a live pitcher with like good spin and good movement, and you're like, this girl is making me look foolish. And like there's nothing. I mean, you can try and make adjustments, but sometimes they just get you. So
Yeah.
it's a hard job, especially on this level.
So when you're feeling it on the other end of that and you're pitching it and you just know, some days as an athlete, you're just in your zone.
Mhm.
Are there moments like that you're like, no matter what I throw, it's going to be exactly where I want it, at the speed I want it, the location. Do you experience moments like that?
Yeah, there's definitely days when I'm pitching where I'm like, all right, this is gonna be a great day because my stuff is moving. But there's also days where I'm like, stuff isn't moving that well, so I'm gonna try and spot stuff, locate my pitches, and then hopefully this batter will get themselves out. But it's day to day when it comes to pitching. Like some days you feel great, some days you don't, but you have to find that constant.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go to another question here. This one comes to us. Let's see. Um, there we go. From Paul. Uh, there we go. Some technical difficulties here. Chris wants to know, where's your favorite place to play?
I would have to say the Rhodes House for sure. I love playing at home. I know a lot of people like to, travel and, go see different places. And I do enjoy that, but I like being home. I like being, where most of our fans are, and having that ability to, play a game and then go back home right away and, get to studying or whatever else I have to do. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament, again, to what Murph and every team, including Team 28, has done to build that fan base to a point where, I mean, it's electric. But are there any other fan bases that, I'm not going to say equal Alabama, but come close, or another atmosphere that's close to the Rhodes House?
I don't know. I think Tennessee was loud this past year, but I still don't think they're the same as the Rhodes House. I feel like it's just a different
Yeah.
energy here. So
I mean, since you've been playing the sport, and to get to this level, you've had to put in a lot of hours and a lot of years to get to a place like Alabama. But it just seems like, and I don't know if it's ESPN promoting the sport, it just seems like the sport continues to grow in popularity. And we saw that the women's basketball last year had a moment with all those superstars playing in the NCAA tournament. But it seems like there has been a slow build with softball. Have you noticed that during your career?
yes, I have. I think the sport is growing very fast too. I feel like there's so many young people that are interested in playing softball now, and like other women's sports too, like women's basketball. And I think people are just realizing how entertaining and how much heart and how much work goes into it. And I think it's just so enjoyable to watch. I love watching softball. Even, even after playing, I'll watch a game with like two random teams. So I think it's just we're in a place where it's going to excel and keep on growing.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Alabama softball, it's so cool to look at these little girls in the stadium, and the way that the Alabama softball players interact. I mean, they always make time for their fans after the game, but just the way that they look at you guys as if you're superheroes, that's got to be an incredible feeling.
Yeah, it's awesome. It really is. Even after like losses, like girls will come up to us and be like, "Oh my God, you played great! Like, can you sign this?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course." But like, it's just so amazing to see that, and that's why we play. Honestly, that's the real reason behind it, is to be able to inspire young girls to play this game and to have fun and to build relationships with teammates.
Yeah, and that's no small reason why the Alabama fan base is so rabid, because the Alabama softball team has always taken care of their fans. Let's go to another question here. This one from Thomas. Don't get yourself in trouble, but what's your best story about Murph?
Best story about Murph. Oh. Okay, so this isn't really my story to tell, I guess, but my best friend on the team, KJ, she's a wrestler. Freshman year, she wrestles Murph in the indoor, and I guess Murph like wrestled like way back in the day. I don't know, but she wrestles him, slams him, and it's so funny. Everyone's laughing, but it was crazy. It was crazy to see.
Yeah.
So
So speaking of the coaching staff, obviously Allison Habitz had a tremendous career at the university, and she announces her retirement. They bring back a Crimson Tide legend in Kayla Broad. How much have you gotten to know Kayla in this short time? It's only been a couple of weeks, I think, but and what does she bring to the program?
yeah, I love Kayla. She I got to talk to her a couple times. She got here. Our first day of practice was Monday, so we got to talk to her and the team. She talked to our team, but she has such a competitiveness about her, and I think she's just gonna help our team grow so much this season. And I'm excited. I'm so excited to get coached by her and to see what all she brings, because it's amazing. It's really amazing. She has such an energy and a presence about her too.
Yeah. Obviously, as I mentioned, the Crimson Tide legend also was a great softball analyst, helping promote and grow the sport. Let's go to another question here. This one from Stephanie wants to know, who's the funniest person on the team? Now, we know, you can tell us, there's always roles within a team, and you always need that one voice that can break the tension or lighten the mood and keep the camaraderie good in there. So who is it on this team?
I would have to say KJ Haney. She is the funniest on our team. She's always able to put a smile on people's faces, and she's always trying to crack jokes. So,
Is that when she slams Murph? Is that the funny stuff, or is she just?
I mean, that was one funny thing, but she is every day. Every day she has something that, a joke, or just a sly little, funny comment, and I think she always keeps us just lighthearted. So.
All right, we value your time. We're going to go another probably 8 minutes or so. We're going to get you out of here. We appreciate your time. We're with Jaala Torrence. We got 6 more questions. Who's the fastest on the team? Peter wants to know.
Ooh, that's kind of a hard one. We have a couple fast people. I would have to say either Kristen or Larissa, for sure. I don't know which one, but one of those two.
Okay. Let's go to another one. Tony Watts wants to know, how is it losing Coach Allison, and is there a different energy with Kayla? I guess I should say Coach Kayla.
Yes. So, we love Coach Allie. She brought so much joy to this team every day, and we know that we're happy for her. We know that she had to leave for a good reason, and she's taking care of her family. And she actually sent, I think, most of us a voicemail the first day of practice, and just saying how much she loves us and that she's going to be supporting us. And it was just really sweet, and it made my night for sure. But like I said, Coach Kayla, she's amazing. Her presence is unbelievable, and I think she's really going to help us this season and this fall.
That's awesome. We can't wait to see you guys out there. Again, October 8th, the first fall exhibition, a doubleheader. May wants to know, what are road trips like for the team?
So it depends where we are in season. So I guess like during like a SEC road trip, we trying to remember. We usually either leave the day before, and then we'll have like practice once we get there to wherever we're at, and then we'll eat dinner. Sometimes mostly at the hotel, and then stay the night. Wake up the next morning, get breakfast, do some stretching, homework, anything you have to do. And then we usually play like later in the day. So we'll have our game, and then sometimes we're able to go and hang out with our parents after, and then get back to the hotel, and then get ready for the next day, which is usually another game.
Now, one thing that the Alabama softball program does that I think is just unique and very, very cool is they will play a road game as close as they possibly can to where a student athlete comes from. And I just think that just shows a lot of appreciation for the work that the student athletes put in, showcasing that individual student athlete as close as they can to their hometown, which is something cool that Murph and the Alabama softball program does. Let's go grab another question here. A few more moments with Jaala Torrence. Garrett wants to know, what are some of the best takeaways you remember as your role as a leader continues to grow in the postseason last year?
Yeah, so I know we talked a little bit about Montana, but I feel like just her leadership last year is just something I kind of want to take into this year. She injured her leg, and she was still able to just do whatever she could for this team. And, I want to be able to put it all on the line and put everything that I have into this team this year, kind of in the same way. But I think just her leadership is something I really want to take and kind of implement into this year, especially staff, pitching staff.
There was that one great image. I can't remember if it was in regionals or super regionals where she got the last out and sort of collapses and the team's rushing in on her. I thought that was really cool. The team sort of celebrating together. All right, we got a few more minutes here. We're going to go with some lightning round questions. First one is from Jennifer, wants to know, what's your favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert is key lime pie.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
What is it? I like the one with the graham cracker crust.
Mm-hmm. That's the best. That's the best one. Yeah.
The consistency, it just makes it the best. And Cindy wants to know, best dugout snack.
That's a hard one. I really don't snack that much in the dugout. I would have to say like goldfish, maybe. I'll eat goldfish every once in a while.
Do softball players like baseball players, do they use sunflower seeds?
Some of us do, yeah. Yes. I used to back in travel ball days, but I don't know. I haven't eaten sunflower seeds in a long time. So, but some of my teammates do.
Is there a player on the baseball team that you think would make the best softball player?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate Jaala Torrence, pitcher for the Alabama softball team, joining us today. Jaala, thank you've been so gracious with your time. Thanks, and we look forward to seeing you guys out there October 8th at the Rhodes House. The first, it's a doubleheader, but the first 2 of an 8-game fall exhibition schedule. Make sure you're getting out to the Rhodes House and supporting these excellent student athletes who represent the Crimson Tide athletic program so well. Thanks, Jaala.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. A blast. Scratching softball off our list, which I know people have been clamoring for because, as I've mentioned several times, the Alabama softball community is a tight-knit group. You will see that on television. You see that with Emily Pitek, who's also known as the Sombrero Lady. She was named one of ESPN's top fans in the country. You're not just a casual softball fan at Alabama. There are no casuals of followers for the softball program. The Alabama softball program, led by Murph for so many years now, has dedicated so much time in building up that fan base. They were one of the first college sports programs that I can remember. I'm not saying they are the first, but the first that I remember that do what a lot of professional sports teams do. They hand deliver season tickets. They know their fan base by name. They interact and sign autographs after every game. So every little thing that program does is sort of geared toward the experience of the fan there at the Rhodes House. And they've had a ton of success. And we all know that you can build a program slowly, but the best way to build a program in terms of building a fan base is winning. And this program's been to the College World Series a lot. They were the first SEC program to win the Women's College World Series. So I don't need to name off their accomplishments. They do it themselves each and every year. So we thank Jaala for joining the program. We're going to continue to feature as many sports as we can here. We got hopefully a big name coming next week. Hopefully, I don't want to. That's what we call in the business a tease, but I don't want to give it away because we don't know. We haven't locked it down yet, but we're always excited to this week at every time to feature our student athletes because they are just wonderful student athletes and they got such great individual stories. And we love the opportunity to give you the access to ask them questions. It's a cool partnership that we have with Yale Alabama and our subscribers where we are able to do this. So again, make sure you're checking out our social media. Make sure you go check out Nick Dunlap chipping in for Eagle. Make sure you go checking out Isaiah Bond's Game Fit of the Week. Just press yay, our Tuesday Tunes as we're calling it, where we give you an example of what student athletes on the football program are listening to before a game. We got Deontay Lawson's playlist up now. So make sure you're checking that out and make sure you're representing the yay. Go buy some gear. All that proceeds, all the profit are going back to our student athlete. Make sure you tell someone about Yale Alabama. Until next week for Half Hour Huddle, I'm Aaron Suttles at Yale Alabama.